Hi guys and girls, and welcome back to Xenus Minis. My name is Greg and this is Xenus's Quick Tips. Fast-paced, bite-sized videos that focus on how to paint specific things. I almost called it just the tip, and then I realised that I probably shouldn't. On that bombshell, let's get started with how to paint Space Marine eye lenses. So we've got our Deathwatch head here, which has been based with Abaddon Black, and now we're taking Screamer Pink, which has been thinned down with Lamia Medium, and we're just going to fill in that eye. Now we don't have to worry about being too careful here, so if you get some on the black, that's alright. We're going to come back and clear that up towards the end of the video. Now I am using a wet palette here, and I am using a mix of Lamian Medium to Screamer Pink at around about the 1:1 ratio. Once that first layer is dried, we're going to be applying a second one using the exact same process as we've just been through, so no need to be neat. No need to be tidy, we're just looking to layer up multiple thin coats to leave us with a nice smooth base to work with. Next we're going to take Caribou Crimson straight from the pot and apply it directly into the centre of the eye, so that makes sure that those recesses are nicely shaded, but also that the lens is as well, and that's going to become important later on in the video. If you do find you've used too much shade, you can use a damp brush to soak up any excess. Now we're moving back to Screamer Pink, so start by applying the paint to the inside of the eye and then start feathering it out into the centre. Next we're going to be layering on the pink towards the bottom of the lens, and we're going to make sure that the top half remains as shaded as possible. Now we're going to highlight the bottom and top part of the lens with Pink Horror. You want to make sure that the tip of your brush is at a fine point when you're applying these highlights, and you can do this by simply twisting the brush in your palette as you're getting rid of the excess paint. The aim here is to highlight the bottom and top of the lens and focus in the lighter colours towards the inside of the eye, and by leaving the outside of the eye shaded, it helps create a reflective effect. Again, you don't need to be neat here, but getting a sharp line at this stage does help minimise the tidy up later on. In this video I'm using a Winsor & Newton Series 7 brush, and that's at a size 0, which is perfect for doing all these fine details. So we're back with Screamer Pink once again, and we'll be applying a 1:2 mix of paint and medium to help transition the pink horror into the rest of the lens. So you do need to be quite neat here and make sure that the Screamer Pink is painted around the edges of the highlights and not directly on top of them. Next we're applying a highlight of Fulgrim Pink around the edges of the lens. Now we're on to our final touch-up of Screamer Pink, which is a 1:3 mix of paint and medium, and this is to help transition in those highlights with the rest of the lens. At this stage we can take Abaddon Black and neaten up any of those mistakes we may have made at the bottom of the lens. Next we're going to take a small amount of Nuln Oil and gently feather it into the top right hand corner of the eye lens, and this will just add some more depth to our shade. So here comes the tricky part. You're going to want to delicately place a spot of white scar at the inside corner of the eye lens. To do this, you want the tip of your brush to be as fine as possible, so make sure you're twisting that in your palette. And then with a steady hand, slowly place the spot in the corner of the eye. White scar is already quite a thin paint, so you don't need any additional medium for this spot highlight. So now we're going to add a second spot of white scar to the shaded part of the eye lens. So you're going to need those steady hands again when you carefully place that spot. Sometimes you may need to come back for a second try, and that's alright. Don't force it, don't press down on that brush, as you may end up with a splodge instead of a spot. Lastly, we're going to tidy up the top of the eye lens and the inside corner neatly with Abaddon Black. And guys, the eye lens is done, so I hope you've enjoyed. Please, if you're having a go, link me in with your pictures. If you've liked what you've seen today, drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.